Hello everyone, and you're welcome. In this tutorial, we're going to build a complete AI-powered recipe generator called Smart Chef using LangChain, Grok's Lemma model, and Streamlits. By the end of this lesson, you will understand how to build prompts using LangChain, connect an LLM through Grok, generate recipes from user ingredients, and then deploy everything as a simple Streamlit web application. Before we write any code, let's try to understand what we're actually building. So let's understand what this application does. The workflow here is quite straightforward. First, the user will input the ingredients, say chicken, garlic, olive oil, salt, pepper, lemon, and so on and so forth. And then the prompt is sent to Grok Lemma model, and the model generates a complete recipe including the preparation steps and the serving suggestion. Finally, we package everything into a Streamlit, and you're going to see it via the web interface. So if you're a food lover, just like I am, then let's go and see how this works. So let's start by looking at the libraries and the version verification. Of course, this is very important. And of course, before we build any AI application, it's always a very good idea or practice to verify the version of libraries we are using. So in this, we're going to first install LangChain. So if you don't have LangChain installed, you should use pipe install LangChain, or remember you to put the exclamation mark. But in my own case, I have it installed already. So I'm going to go to the next thing, which is verifying the version of LangChain I'm using. Okay, so here we are checking the LangChain version. So this is very helpful. This is helpful, most finally to avoid compatibility issue because LangChain evolves so quickly. So if your version is actually different from what I'm using right now, you can probably um, install the version we are using for this tutorial, or you can check the combination with LangChain. So after verifying our version, then we're going to import the libraries we're going to be using for these projects. Specifically, we're going to be importing OS, and then we're going to import warning, import LangChain prompt, and then Grok and Grok. Now, just briefly, OS, which is the first one here, we import OS to help us to manage our environment variables. And we're going to also import chat prompt templates. So chat prompt templates here will help us to see how we can structure our prompts. And close to it, we have chat Grok. Obviously, this connects us or connect our application to Grok ultra fast platform. And with this, I think we can be sure we are ready for this tutorial. So in my home case, I'm going to, okay. So I'm going to check my version. My version is 1.314. And then I'm going to run my run my libraries. And next, we're going to connect our key or configure our key. To configure our key, we use the os.environment Grok API key. And then here, we're going to um, paste your API key. So here I've pasted my API key, but in your own case, you have to do well to paste your own key. All right, so please do well to paste your own key. If you paste your own key, then we can move to the next stage. If you don't have your API key, to get API key is quite simple. Just go to Grok and then create API key, and then that key created for you can come and paste right here. So quickly, we have our prompt templates. So how do you create our prompt templates? I must say that this is actually the heart of our application. So instead of asking AI random questions, we carefully design the prompts for the AI application. Here the system tells the model to behave like an award-winning professional chef. So we are building a chef application or AI chef or whatever, you know. So we're going to prompt it that it should take himself or behave like an award-winning professional chef. So this chef or these prompts allow variables or ingredient variables. But then if you note that we have the system prompts and then we have the human prompts where the users can put in the ingredients. Okay. So every time a user enters the ingredients, LangChain automatically injects them into these prompts before sending the request to the LLM. So this prompt is actually what separates the prompts and the user's inputs, you know, and make it much easier for us to reuse and maintain. So if we're done with this, now we have our prompts already using chat prompt templates, and then we have the system prompts, and then we have the human prompts, the human. So if that is done, then the next is for us to chain it. So we're going to initialize Grok LLM and then build our LCL model. Is it LCL model? LCLL. I hope we know the full meaning of that. Okay. So now, if that is done, the next thing is for us to okay. So the next thing is for us to now invoke the method or use invoke method. All right, this done, the next thing is for us to test our recipe generation. So we're going to have the ingredient one containing chicken, garlic, olive oil, salt, pepper, and lemon, and then pass it to the recipe generator and using the ingredient one, and we're going to see what is going to generate for us. So let's watch and see so we can do well to follow along. Now we have a link chain, okay? So now I have my recipe generator, so I can now prompt the generator to generate recipe from me using these ingredients, all right? So now let's prompt it and let's run it. So I have an error. It says ingredients one. Okay, okay, API key not seen. So I'm going to, I think the issue is due to API. So let me paste my API. So you don't need to use the API. So you just simply generate your own. And now, okay, now I have my outputs from the first ingredient. And then for the second ingredient, I have my response. Now the response is give me the name of the recipe and then the ingredient for the recipe and even the quantity. And finally, it gives me the cooking steps. All right. So the last stage here is to deploy it with Streamlits. Now, to use Streamlits, we are going to import OS as Streamlits. Okay, let's go to Streamlits here. So I have Streamlits code written here. All right, good. So I can delete this. All right, with Streamlit, we have OS import. You also have to import Streamlit and several and other ones, other library earlier imported. If you don't have Streamlit imported before now or installed before now, you need to go ahead and install Streamlit first before this will work. And in Streamlit, we have a ht.set page configuration. Here we set the name of the page name of this app, and then we set the page logo, and then the layout is centered. And now, again with st.title, we set the title, and then with st-write, we just write a glimpse of what we want to do. These are turn your ingredients into a delicious meal. And we create our sidebar. Here we want to use a sidebar. With this sidebar, we have a sidebar that takes in setting. In the setting, you're going to input your API key, and then you can set your temperature. Of course, in this, we're using temperature 0.7 as default. However, you can set it, you can change it when you have your app running. So we have st.catch resource. This is actually to serve as cache or short memory. It is short memory, temporary memory for some of the activities so that we don't have to repeat all over and over again. Now, what this does is to bring in our prompts, to define our prompts, just as we have in a notebook. You can simply copy what you have in a notebook, and then we have the initialization of the model, just as we have in notebook, and then we have the chaining, just as we have in notebook. We can simply just copy this. And finally, we have the app working, or basically to generate the response, we're going to use generate button. So to create generate button, we use if generate button. That means if you click generate button, it's going to prompt you to enter your API key. And if you enter something wrong, it's going to say, please enter at least one ingredient. Okay, empty. Okay, then prompt you to enter your ingredients. So if you enter your wrong ingredients or you did not enter ingredients, it's going to prompt you to enter the right ingredients. And then here I have st.spin or spinner so that it will spin until response is generated. So when you have a response generator, it's going to give me an output like recipe ready, and it's going to run out the recipe, the ingredients, the quantity, and the steps. All right, so with this, we've come to the end of our tutorial. I hope we have been able to learn one or two things. So far, we have been able to cover how to set up a LangChain installation, the creating prompt templates, connecting Grok Llama model, building an LCL pipeline, testing a recipe, and building a Streamlit app. From here, you can challenge yourself and improve it further. You know, cuisine selection, calorie estimation, cooking time, and the rest of them. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next tutorial.